You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. Happy election day afterwards. Man, we're here with you guys today, man, and we got my boy Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
We got my brother B.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, we got English one. Oh, wow.
We got a little salute there.
All right, man. So listen, guys, with us today, we got the crew, so we're going to talk about what we can this week. Wasn't a lot of news. The big two pieces of news is we got two movies that left this year of 2020 going to 2021, leaving one movie left for 2020. Let's see if that movie comes out. And then we also had some bad news with Johnny Depp, but he did it to himself, people. So we got Johnny Depp to talk about. We'll tell you about some of the movies or maybe shows that we watched over the week because there are no movies. We got the Mandalorian episode 2. And then today, because of the election happening this week, we're going to give you our best presidents in movie films. So first bit up the news. Unfortunately, everybody, Freeguy with Ryan Reynolds got pushed back into 2021. And also, I think Death on the Nile, which was one of those plays on one of those Disney World theme parks. And as far as blockbusters goes, that's the main thing of our podcast is we did blockbuster movies. We were going to the movies 3 times a month, seeing different movies.
At least.
Yeah.
Just insane.
We paid for it. We had to.
Bless you.
Ooh, yeah,
Gesundheit.
Alex on today. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, there's no blockbusters really left in this year. Everything's pretty much cleaned house and went to 2021. But there remains one. Sanj, what's your trust that Wonder Woman will save 2020 coming out on Christmas? Wonder Woman 84.
I think it's as likely that Wonder Woman stays in the theaters for 2020 as it is likely that Donald Trump will go quietly.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. Exactly.
Al, man, your take, man. Wonder Woman 84 staying in December or come on, the Christmas Miracle?
Nah, that's going to push too. I agree with Sanj on that. That's not sticking around.
Oh man, and B Dog, come on, B, give me some hope, B. Oh man, those listening.
That's a no for me, dog.
He didn't even waste
give him
breath.
a no.
On you, son. He didn't even waste a breath.
Jeez, yeah, you know what, man? Put me down from before that. This ain't happening. I don't know if you guys have seen the red wave around the United States of COVID. So it is getting crazy out here right now with the COVID popping up everywhere, and it's the infection rate going up in a lot of different states. So I can see that most likely things are going to start to get either closed down or things are going to get tightened as far as the measures for people to be to be able to protect themselves. So Wonder Woman 84 for me, as much as I hope that it goes to the theaters, let's be honest, I haven't been to the theaters since before the virus started. So I doubt that it'll stay there. That's a money-making Warner Brothers picture. Now, there's still a chance that it may go to, on demand or something because they've been holding this movie back for a while now. But I doubt that it's going to happen because it's, again, just like how Marvel had said, this movie was meant to make about $1 billion. And to put it on demand, I doubt it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to make that money on demand.
Yeah.
No way.
But if it does go to theaters, I can see it coming out possibly like in April, maybe May, like start of the summer. But man, 2021 is going to be loaded with movies.
every week is going to be a new movie, apparently.
Yeah.
We're going to have so much to talk about.
Yeah. If you didn't like 2020, you're going to love 2021.
It's all a marketing plan.
Oh man, that's crazy. Our reelies for next year are going to have an asterisk.
Oh no,
Oh man, but yeah, man. So that Wonder Woman 84, I agree with you guys, man. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, man. So we'll keep our eye out for it. We'll see what comes
Can we
up.
just admit that the realies this year, the winner's going to be Sonic? Like, just because it's like the only thing that came out.
Sonic, yeah, that and Bad Boys for Life.
We just can't give it away. We have to count those votes,
Chicago.
Brandon. We have to count the votes.
You guys are sleeping on the trial of Chicago.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, we are. You see, this is why we count the votes.
This is why I count the votes. I don't know. Sonic was the only one in theaters. It was the only legal movie we have here.
No, Sonic is gonna go to court to get us to stop the count.
You guys are
we are not being gracious to the president at all. No way, shape, or form are we being gracious to our commander.
It's been a fun week. It
has been.
Too crazy, man. So let's get to the next bit of news there, guys. And, fortunately, we have to talk on some of these things that happen because, these actors act crazy sometimes. And there's nothing funny about domestic violence or abuse on women or, abuse, period. We have, is it an accusation or is it just like completely known now, right? It's actually like, it's not even an accusation anymore.
I think technically it's still an accusation because that's never been taken to like trial, or I don't know if he's been arrested for it, but he took the newspaper that reported it to trial for libel.
In the UK.
Yeah. And then that judgment came down, and that's where all of this is coming from. So this is basically him trying to sue a paper for putting the story out there. Yeah. That in essence that they were causing damage because of what they were saying, and the judge basically said, "No, the shit's true. It's true. So, you did this." Yeah.
What they're talking about is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, famous actor, started with the what was the show that he started with?
21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street, right?
Yeah.
So he is part of this movie called Fantastic Beasts. And he's part of that. It's that Harry Potter
universe, yeah.
Prequels,
like prequels or something.
So with Johnny Depp being in these movies and this court case coming in, he has now been completely kicked off all the rest of the movies. This was supposed to be like a 5-part series that they were going to create there with the Harry Potter theme and the whole prequel of before Harry Potter came into existence, what was going on in the wizarding world of that fantastical beast. Everything there. So, with him being kicked out, most likely he's going to be recast. Just real quick, Brandon, I know you're a big Harry Potter fan. I'm not sure if you really were into the Fantastic Beasts movies. What's your thoughts on the whole Johnny Depp getting kicked out as the main villain of all this?
I mean, in terms of those movies, I'll be honest in saying that those movies didn't really do much for me. Like, I think the story suffered more than the design of the movies. Like the world itself that they've helped create is really awesome. The creatures they made for the first movie, but kind of like going forward from there, like the story in which they're trying to build upon hasn't really hit its mark yet. Not like what you're thinking from Harry Potter. When you think about those movies, each of those movies was a hit. Like each of them nailed the mark. Each of them was very relatable to the book series. And just kind of was really great. And then you take this movie series, and each movie was kind of like, all right. And then I'll see the next one because I believe in the Harry Potter series, so I'm gonna watch it. And then the second one was just all right, So there's not like a lot of hope. It's kind of like as a fan of Harry Potter, not so much a fan of J.K. Rowling. If you're within those era of things right now, people are watching Harry Potter for Harry Potter, so they're hoping that these movies kind of turn their attention well. So with Johnny Depp being recasted, I don't have any real issues with it, just because like his involvement with the movies thus far has been minimal, right. And this is going to be the point in which his kind of villain arc kind of grows from there. Almost right. Like Voldemort, the first couple movies, like Voldemort was on the back of somebody's head, and then he was like as a teenager. So like kind of like the villain in this movie is Grindelwald, as Depp played. His character was going to be fleshed out in these last 3 movies. And so with him being recast, it's not really so big of an issue for me. Now I just want to see what the character And I respect the fact that Johnny Depp himself was the one who actually pulled out. You know, WB Warner Brothers was like, listen, we think it's best you do this, and he was like, I agree, it's best that I do that as well. So right. I like that it was agreed on both sides that this was something they should do.
Absolutely, man. And Al, man, I mean, I'm not sure if you watched any of the Fantastic Beasts movie. I know I saw the first one, and I kind of agree with Brand. The first one was a lot better than the second one. The second one completely like bored me to death. But are you displeased that Johnny Depp will be coming off the character, or like Brandon was just saying, they really haven't done anything major with that character. He's been in the background the entire time, but now he was supposed to shine. So maybe this is the right time where you can replace a character like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I saw the same thing. I saw the first one. I think I've tried to watch the second one about 5 times now, and I either fall asleep or I just turn it off and put something else or something. So, like, I'm not sure where his character was going. So, if they do change it, I don't think really for me, as far as where I am as a fan of the series, it won't have that much of an impact. But for the kids that were, like they grew up on Harry Potter, they're really into this universe.
Right.
I'm interested to see how they take to this kind of a change, because it's not like his character was small in the whole arc of the story that they were going to tell. So how do they take to now you're changing the character and, now it's going to have to be somebody else. But
remember, they did that with Dumbledore in the first Harry Potter.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just going to say, it's the world of magic. So, they could probably come off with any story or explanation, and it could seem feasible in that world. So,
dark magic.
Yeah. But it was definitely a move they had to do, and like Brandon said, I'm glad that it was amicable on both sides with the split, because for a family franchise, it was the right move to make, given the cloud that would have been over him during the filming.
Yeah, I got you, man. And it sounds like more in the sense of like you and I kind of think of celebrities in the same way. We don't really hold them to high standards and everything like that. We acknowledge who they are. If they're good actors, we acknowledge them. But at the same time, we're not big fans. We follow everything that they do and all that stuff. That goes for most of us. I think all of us here are pretty much like that. But I know you especially, Sanj. But I also know, Sanj, you are a fan of Johnny Depp, and his work and stuff like that. So is this more like of a letdown, or you don't really expect anything from actors anymore?
Well, I respect people for their talent, right? But at the same time, the person, if you don't do bad things and you don't necessarily do good things, I'm okay with that once you don't do bad things. But if it's known, your character means a lot to me as well. So if it's known that you're doing things that are really, really bad, like beating on your wife or domestic abuse or things like that, then it makes me happy that they removed you or that you're not part of it anymore, because I don't want to put money in somebody's pocket that does that. I don't want to support them. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a job. I'm not saying that, just for anything like that, but just from my end of it, I don't want to support them. So I wouldn't have been, knowing that, I would have pulled out of, even if it was something I really, really liked. I would have not been supportive of it, because it just doesn't mesh with who I am or what I believe in. So, but I don't think that. So I'm not necessarily let down because I didn't know Johnny Depp personally, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it bodes well for the changing times, that when you're found out to be doing something like that, the studio or the execs or the company that you're with is going to say, hey, you know what, we don't want to be associated with you, like,
right.
And wish you well, but and it doesn't close the door on him. He now has an opportunity to go work on himself, and
absolutely.
One, try to get forgiveness for what he did from the person that he did it to, and then see what happens from there. It doesn't close the door on a person. I mean, people can change, people can get better, but for right now, you need to, it's the right thing for them not to be associated with him. And I don't think the movie will suffer at all, because like Brandon was saying, I agree. Like he didn't have that big of a role anyway, so it wasn't like his talent was being put on display where it's going to leave a big gaping hole or anything like that. So I think it's more. The only loser here is Johnny Depp as well. He should be the only loser here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well said, man. Again, like you just said, it's not something that we should be disappointed about because we don't really know them like that. But at the same time, don't really want to be associated with something like
Right.
that at all.
Right.
It's just, terrible. And it's a perfect time and opportunity for you to realize your wrongs and work on yourself. So it's a good point, son.
It's different when people say something like they have a slip of the tongue. Anybody can have a slip of the tongue or say something out of pocket and just be like, listen, I was having a bad day or whatever, right? But when you raise your hand to somebody and put your hands on people, that's different. Those are different decisions. You don't just slip and hit somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you thought about that, at least a little bit,
Right.
and you still made that decision to do that. So
yeah, man. Yeah, guys, and listening to the podcast out there, or you're watching the podcast on YouTube. If you guys have any thoughts on any of those two topics there, just put a little comment below. We'll respond back. Or if you have something you want to say regarding those topics, email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and review those on the next podcast to kind of give your voice a little word out there in the YouTube world or in the podcast world. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, guys, again, there wasn't much news, so that was pretty much everything there. We're just going to go into a couple of things that we saw this week, or things that we kind of like looked into, whether it's movies or shows out there on Netflix or even, regular shows. What did you guys as well as watch? Because it's also for my knowledge, because I haven't talked to you guys in a while. So, for me, one of the things that I finished up this week was Lovecraft Country. I finished the entire thing. I watched the last episode there, and I have to say, man, what an interesting show! What an interesting season! I don't know if I can truly recommend it as yo, you gotta see this kind of thing. There are parts of it that I do recommend that you gotta kind of see or experience, because I think the main gist in the story is all about all the racial inequality that happened and all the I guess you could just see some of the stuff that's happening that you can't even believe it's real. And most of the horror and the sci-fi is nowhere near as bad as the racism and the racist things that they have to deal with in that show. And I think that's such it's weird to say a beautiful contrast, but it really is, because it's wow, you're here worrying about monsters and this and this and that, and I'm worried about them being chased by someone just because they're black. You know what I mean? It's just insane, and all the different it weeded through the riots in was it Oklahoma, Sanj?
Yes.
Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
The Oklahoma riot there.
That wasn't a riot. That was a massacre.
Yeah, that was insane. And they also brought in Emmett Till's, murder in there as well. So there's things happening in the background that kind of made it just very historical almost, but at the same time, it had its own little twist and feel inside of there. I think one of the craziest things I've seen in the show was some of the horror aspects, though. Jordan Peele is a part of this show. The guy from Lost, I can't think of his name, who did the Star Trek, that Sanjay despises.
Bad Robot.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, Abrams is a part of it. The people who did, I think one of the ladies who's working on the Candyman reboot.
I think Al hates J.J. Abrams just as much, because he ruined Star Wars too. I mean, he took Star Wars and Star Trek and flushed both of them down the toilet, bro.
Is J.J. Abrams Khan?
Listen. So J.J. Abrams might have to feel my wrath at some point, but whatever.
Well, listen, man. In regards to some of those features and stuff like that, there are some good designed horror aspects in there. There were these two twin girls that were freaking the hell out of me, dancing, and forget it. It was just ridiculous. But for me, Lovecraft Country, I think you guys should give it a watch. I can understand if at a certain point you may not be into it. There's a lot of crazy stuff that you see, but it's definitely interesting. And also, you get a sneak peek at Kang the Conqueror there, because he is acting his ass off in that show. I can't remember the name of the guys the actor that's playing him, but he is killing it. The main actor for Lovecraft Country, that's our new Kang the Conqueror, people, and he's killing it in that show. Sanj, man, you watched Lovecraft Country. Did you end up finishing that also?
Jonathan Majors.
Yes, Mr. Majors.
I did watch Lovecraft Country, and I will, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here.
Yeah.
Whereas you say you don't think it's something that's like a must see, or we're too excited, about. I, on the other hand, was extremely excited about, and I think everyone should see this for some of those reasons. It's not just the racial inequality aspect of it, or how it was dealing with the racial issues that black people specifically have gone through, in the history of our country. But also, it sheds light on homosexuality within communities of color, and the attitude towards it, and the fact that it was his. I may be giving away a little too much. Am I giving away a little too much by saying?
That's all right, man.
Okay.
I mean, the show's already over. So
okay, yeah. So people, they should have seen it by now. But yeah, no, like how it's his dad, and the dynamic there, and how he's our main character, and we love him, right? When you're watching it, he is definitely a good guy, but then the way he responds to his dad when he finds out that his dad is a closeted gay person, and he ends up coming out, and like initially how he responds to it is an issue that is talked about a lot in the Black community, and the fact that they're tackling it there and not just tackling the issue, like bringing up the issue and putting it in your face, right? They're dealing with it in such a way that where you have feelings for all of the characters, and you're like, well, it's his dad, and the dad, we kind of feel negatively towards the dad at first, but then they flesh out his story a little bit more, and then you kind of it takes you on that emotional roller coaster to make you can't make these blanket judgments about people unless you know their whole story, and that's what they do. They give you the whole story. And then I thought that scene where they do the time travel, and his son ends up being the one that saved him in the past. Like when you do those time travel things,
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. and then like it brings up one of those things where you always imagine, like, if you could get into a time machine and like go see your dad when he was a kid, right? Like, what kind of interaction would you have? And it would just, like, you think about these things, and then you see that, and then he says, him as an adult says to his dad, "I got you, kid," and it just, they give you so many of those moments. And again, not just his dad being a gay man at the end of it, when the two women strike up a relationship, and they say, and you see that there as well. But I did think I agree with you in the sense that the overarching theme is, as scary as all this stuff is, the racial, the racial injustice is so much more scary than actual monsters.
That
right?
first episode,
that was crazy. That was so crazy.
Yeah, Brandon or Al, did you guys catch Lovecraft Country by any chance or not?
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Yeah, I'm watching it. I just finished the episode where they showed when the son was in Vietnam, or whatever war he was, the Korean War. Korean War, and he met the G. I forgot her name, and then you find out what she was and what their interaction was. But one of the themes that I see throughout the show is the difficulties that everybody was having. Like you said, the overarching one is obviously about race and what blacks were going through, and how that's playing out as one of the horrors of the show.
Right.
But one of the themes that I'm noticing right now is the women and what they were going through, because in the episode I just finished watching, the I don't know her name, the white blonde girl with all the magic.
Right.
Eve's Adam, the guy who wanted to be Adam's daughter.
Christina Braithwaite.
Yeah. So her character portrayed, when she goes out, remember the magic, she tells the sister, she says, "This makes you what you want to be, or you can be whatever you want to be with this." And what she wanted to be when she went out to the world was a man, because as a woman, she couldn't do what she wanted to do.
Right.
Like, remember, she wanted, so far from what I can tell, she wanted to lead that order, and because she was a female, she couldn't. So what she wants to be is a male, because as a male, she can do the things that she wanted to do.
And then her mind, she was so much better at it than all of them.
Yeah.
So it shows that she had the mind for it, but just the fact that she was a woman, she was barred from, precluded from doing it.
And that's why I like that they're touching on that for everybody, there's a challenge, there's an obstacle, there's something to overcome. Now, granted, it's not as major as some other obstacles, but I like that they're presenting that from that point of view and showing that, you know what, somebody has something that they want to be because of the obstacles and the roadblocks that they're facing. So I just want to see where the show goes. I think they're all doing well. Even the girl from that she played Black Canary in the Harley Quinn movie. I think she's doing a great job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, as the main
killing
lead of the show, she's doing it. They all are, you know. And what's his name from The Wire playing the dad? I think
he's killing it.
Yeah, the acting is crazy, especially given the subject matter. You know, you're dealing with aliens, monsters, magic. You name the sci-fi genre, it's in this show.
Yeah.
So like Sanjay said, I agree with if you're into sci-fi, if you're into magic, if you're into any of those kind of genres, you will see something in this show.
Right.
Plus the realities of life that you could probably relate to in some fashion or another from your personal life is represented as well in the show. And yeah, I think everybody should watch it.
It's like everything. It's like everything he puts out, Jordan Peele, is just like total like genius.
Yeah.
Right. There's always these sub layers that you can always find or catch. It's just insane.
It's got the cake writing. It's got many layers.
And frosted. It got frosted.
It got frosted too. Put that shit on top.
And Brandon, man, how about yourself, man? You caught anything this last week or so?
Oh, I've been obsessed. So obviously I've been watching a lot of anime.
Surprise.
Surprise. Not. I found a new show called Black Clover, and it's pretty cool. It's like every other anime show that's come out in the last decade. It's about a guy who wants to basically become something like every other anime. So in layman's terms, so they are a bunch of wizards. They get magical books called grimoires, and each grimoire comes with like an attribute, whether it's fire, water, wind, all that stuff. And so the best of all of these wizards is called the Wizard King. And so like there's these kingdoms. So these people live in the Clover Kingdom. There's a Spade Kingdom, Diamond Kingdom, and Heart Kingdom, and all these other kingdoms. They go to war with each other and stuff. But the central plot of this is that this one kid doesn't have magic, you know, and he's the only person who doesn't get magic like everybody else. Right. And so he gets the grimoire that has anti-magic. And so like the story is unfolding, like why does he have anti-magic? There's elves involved in this story, and what do the elves have to do with him, and how are they related? So it's a pretty cool show. I've actually nonstop been watching it because I have like a thank you Funimation for the 14-day free trial. Not a sponsor. So I've been literally watching it every day, at least like 9 episodes a day.
Wow, that's insane, man. That's
a great show. Great show.
And that was called Black Clover, right?
Black Clover.
All right, cool, man. And then Sanjay, yourself, man, you caught anything else besides the Lovecraft Country?
I've been this week. I got into on Disney Plus, as a matter of fact. There's a series called The Right Stuff, which is based on a book by Tom Wolfe, which was also a movie. I believe in the 80s the movie came out about the first days of NASA. And the first Mercury 7 astronauts. But this time, instead of doing it in one movie, they're fleshing it out over a mini series, and going further into depth of the characters as they pick the first 7 astronauts. And NASA's basically just been formed, so they have basically a room and a desk. You know, it's not NASA as we know it today. And then and then how the astronauts are jockeying for position to be chosen as the first one to go to space. So the three major players are astronaut Alan Shepard, astronaut Gus Grissom, and astronaut John Glenn. It centers around mostly the three of them, and they go into the other 4 initial astronauts as well, but it's a really cool show. I mean, for me, I love everything space, as much as I'm into Star Trek. Like, I'm a big fan of NASA, and like I like to follow what's going on at NASA and like know about their history and everything. So I mean, it's great. I mean, they focus. I mean, to me, there's a lot of focus on the astronauts, drinking and debauching, whatnot. But
Simon's kind of an astronaut.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But after by the 5th episode, right? You're like, I get it. I get it. They were all drinking a lot and they were all cheating on their wives except for John Glenn. We get it. You know what I'm saying? Like we can continue the story. You know what I mean?
No.
But, you know, there is a lot of good acting. There are some good scenes and good moments in it. But I'm just enjoying it for right now.
That's awesome, man. Al, man, how about yourself, man? You catching anything this week, or you caught anything last week?
I caught up Ava today. I watched it with Jessica Chastain, Common, Colin Farrell. I'd never heard of the movie before, considering all the actors. What's his name? Being John Malkovich. Yeah, John Malkovich was in it.
Right. Yeah, he's awesome, that guy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy for being John Malkovich? John Malkovich.
No, I had to say it's funny. It's like I had to say the name of the movie in order to get the name. But John. But considering the level of actors that are in this movie, I'm surprised I'd never heard of it. Gina Davis is in there. She plays the mother. I mean, it's a lot of good actors in the movie. I mean, it's not the greatest movie. Don't get me wrong. But it felt like it was supposed to be like the female John Wick.
Okay.
Jessica Chastain, she plays like a female assassin, and but it was good in the sense that it wasn't just about that. Like it's the family dynamic and this and that and so forth. So, I mean, if you have nothing else to do, especially since there aren't any good movies coming out, period, definitely check that one out either on streaming or we checked it out from Redbox. So definitely give it a look.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Thanks, man. And then that'll bring us. Oh, go for it.
Before we move on, there was they're not new movies, but this director Deepa Mehta, she had come out with a series of movies, and she's an Indian director, and she's telling these stories around different themes in India. Like one movie, Earth, deals with the days of when India got its independence, and there was the partition between India, Pakistan, and then later Bangladesh as well. So it's telling stories from those times. And it's 3 movies: Earth, Fire, Fire, Earth, and Water. That's the sequence of them, the order of them, right? And I had seen Water a long time ago, and I have it. And then I had never gotten the other 2, and now these movies became really hard to find. As a matter of fact, I had to go on eBay and make sure I was getting the right version, and if it was a good copy or something like that, you just can't find these things. So I finally got Fire and Earth, so I started watching this week. I got halfway through Earth. I mean, they're really good. They're really deep, as well. Right. But it's just a little change from the normal that I usually watch, just to delve a little bit more into my own culture and history.
Oh man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's fantastic, man. Well, that was called Earth, Fire, and Water.
Fire, Earth, and Water.
All right,
by Deepa Mehta.
Something else. All right, man. That's something else to put out there for people to watch, man. That's what we're all about, man. Giving people another perspective and different things to watch. There's the things that we recommend for people to watch, since libraries are closed too. So
and ironically, her first movie, Fire, was actually banned in India because it dealt with the issue of lesbianism, and some of the scenes were too graphic. One, you're talking about a taboo topic in India, and as well having graphic scenes. So the movie was actually banned, where it couldn't be viewed or distributed.
That's crazy.
Ahead of its time, huh?
Interest peaked.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I have all 3 of them, so you guys are more than welcome to borrow them, and
Awesome, man. Definitely. Yeah, man. And then the last thing we're going to talk about as far as movies that we see this week or shows we've seen this week is we'll get into The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2. I'm not sure if all the fellas got a chance to watch it, but let's see who did. Al, Brandon, Sanj, you guys all check it out? Or?
I saw episode 1. I didn't get to see episode 2, but that's okay if you guys spoil it. It's all right.
Yeah? Yeah. All right. Well, it's not, I don't think anything really crazy happened in episode 2. Last week we made episode 1 a real big topic where me and Al just talked about it. But this one doesn't really deserve all of that. Episode 2 was kind of like your typical TV show episode kind of thing, where something just happens and you're just going along with what happens. But nonetheless, still entertaining, still something to watch. It was another part of the story here. But like I was telling Al in the last episode for episode 1, where this kind of let me down is yet again, like I get that we're not supposed to see it like a movie. It's supposed to be a TV show, right? But they left us with this huge cliffhanger at the end that this guy has the dark saber, the grandma, was the guy from Breaking Bad, grandma or grandma. Yeah. He was the general there for the.
It's something to say. His grandma. His grandma.
MOFF.
This whole thing. Grandma.
His grandma had the dark saber, but she wouldn't give it to him because he didn't eat lunch.
Baby Yoda's grandma got the dark saber.
Dude, I'm over Baby Yoda being cute. It's over. I'm over it. Come on.
I'm not. He's killing babies this episode. What?
Dude,
he's not innocent no more.
He's a monster.
Killing the baby frog, killing baby spiders.
He's got to eat something. What? Like none of y'all killed a chicken or killed a cow? Come on.
It's interesting.
Who ate eggs this morning?
Who ate eggs?
Exactly.
This guy was like, technically, Baby Yoda's 50 years old, so he should know better.
Well, he's a baby for a Yoda,
Dude, the lady toad or chameleon thing was saying like, this is the last of my existence. It's all inside of this thing, and he's over there like this.
The last bit of the episode was the best part. Just looks back and just
one last one for the episode.
One last thing for the episode. She had like 7 eggs down to 1. All Yoda's fault. All Yoda's fault.
Well, listen, let's just go right into B-Dog, man. Talk to me, man. What's your thoughts on this episode, man? Good episode to watch or just another filler?
My whole thing is like, so I actually really loved the first episode of the season because you got the crate dragon, right? What I like about, not like, I don't like to say like the monster of the week format that we've been getting, with the start of this.
It wasn't that this week. It really wasn't that like that this week.
But I like that we're seeing more of what's in the Star Wars universe. It's always kind of been, we're going to look at the Jedi, we're going to look at the Sith, we're going to have stormtroopers, and we're going to have like droids, and that's really what it's going to be. And like, if you're lucky, they're going to shoot at each other and you might get something else and you might get some other alien species. But this is like some of the first time that we're getting more than just bantha. We're starting to see more creatures, more terrifying creatures, this week being that cave spider, and the spiders that came with it. That was really cool to see because it was something different. Like, you're not, I'm kind of happy we haven't gone straight into the dark saber thing because then you have it again. The Mandalorian versus somebody with a lightsaber. We saw that in Star Wars Episode 2, just the reverse. So, I like that we've now introduced a little bit more of the world of the galaxy. We've seen more of what's to offer in Star Wars that's outside the box.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You know what it is for me is just like, again, last episode also. We forget last season's last episode. The last episode from this season, they show Boba Fett possibly, right, in the background. Definitely him. This week, what Boba Fett?
Yeah, although I think that's who sent the guys in the beginning. Like I want to know. I'm wondering if he was who sent the guys in the beginning because they were sent after him. It wasn't like they were like, oh, let's rob whoever passes by, because they specifically didn't try to get anything from his crashed bike. They specifically wanted the kid, as they say, get the child. So I think they were sent. I think it's going to turn out they were sent. And then from what I'm understanding also, this might have been not so much of a filler episode, but more of a setup episode. Because they're saying that the spiders, if you watched Rebels, which I haven't, those spiders are from Rebels. And the episodes and the storyline in Rebels where those spiders are from, it dealt with a character who was accompanying the character that Rosario Dawson is supposed to be playing.
Oh, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, so this might have been a setup for really letting us know that this person is coming. We're introducing them soon. So it was more of a setup episode. They don't want to, they want, for some reason, people don't want to call it a filler episode, which you're going to have some of these episodes where it's just like a filler episode to say what he did on Monday, so to speak. But I mean, visually, they're making these episodes look, they're making them look like movies. So,
would you guys both agree that the death scene in the first fight in this thing is probably the funniest death you've ever seen?
I knew it was coming though. Once he let him take it, I said, he's gonna. Why does the guy not know he's got something to control it?
Don't ruin it for Sanj. That we won't ruin for Sanj. Sanj has to look at that.
Because I'm definitely gonna go watch it right after we record. Night, because you guys have got me like totally interested right now.
Yeah.
Especially that death. All right, man. So listen, the last bit for this show, man, for this week.
Now we get to have some fun.
We're gonna talk about our favorite president that has been on film, and this is just, kind of going with the theme of this week. We had the election this week. And again, regardless of who you voted for, hey, we still chose a president for the United States. So we're going to talk about those movie film presidents, those great ones, Morgan Freeman playing himself or basically as a president. You also have the great Independence Day president. And you also have the Air Force One president, Harrison Ford playing, I think his name was James Marshall, President Marshall. But there's also been presidents in TV shows, presidents pretty much in all of entertainment. So I wanted to know what these guys' favorite president of all time in movies is. Sanj, please let me know your favorite president on film.
Well, I'm glad that you just expanded it to say whether it's like, it can be a TV show or whatever, because I really had to think about it when you put that question. It was because, like you said, there have been so many great performances by a president. I mean, that speech by Bill Pullman at the end of Independence Day, "We will not go quietly into the night. We will fight." And then he's like, "And July 4th will be not an American holiday, but a world holiday." That was just great. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to go fight the aliens right there and then. You know what I mean? But again, you have more. We had so many great ones to choose from, like Morgan Freeman in several movies. He's played
several movies, yeah.
Like all
Deep
the Fallen,
Impact, I think, was one of them.
Deep Impact, the Fallen trilogy. Like Angel Has Fallen, Olympus Has Fallen, and then the White House Has Fallen. No. Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, and then Angel Has Fallen. Yeah, those three. Yeah. I mean, he was great as the president there. And then, I mean, even in Love Actually, Billy Bob Thornton played a great Bill Clinton-esque character. And he was, he was definitely like a villain type, but he did it really. He played the character very, very well. But I would have to say, with all of that, my all-time favorite president, on the screen is Martin Sheen as Jeb Bartlett from The West Wing. Yeah. And he was just, he's the president. He's like the ideal. My little sister asked me, because we were talking about House of Cards and Kevin Spacey's portrayal of a president or whatever, and she was asking me about, well, which version do I think is closer to reality? I said, well, I don't have a frame of reference to say, because don't work in Washington, don't work in the White House, so I wouldn't be able to say which is closer to reality. But I did say that if I could make a president, or if I could design a president, it would be Jeb Bartlett. He's just brilliant and altruistic. He's exactly what you would want your president to be.
Gotcha, man. That's awesome, man. And, man, look like you kind of agree with Sanj on that one there. Is that your best president on film as well?
Yeah, when you said president, that was who I went to too. And then you said movie president. I was like, so I went to Air Force One and Pullman from Independence Day, because I was trying not to pick, like, obviously, like biographical presidents that they've done in terms of like movies on Washington, Lincoln, and so forth.
Yeah.
But the one that comes to mind every time I think of politics or government and the presidency is Bartlett from West Wing. And, you know, to the point where you don't know if that's really how it works, but to a certain degree, that's how you would hope it worked, where they're trying to do the right thing, but sometimes you have to negotiate a deal, and sometimes you have to give up stuff that you didn't want to give up because the long game is to get what you really want. So you may have to make deals and so forth. So yeah, that was who I was thinking of when you said presidents, and not, as much as you can admire a fictional character, like that was the one it's the one I always go to when I look at and compare other characters that are portraying the presidency.
Gotcha, man. Brandon, watch yourself, man. What was your best president on film there for yourself?
I think one of my favorite, other than obviously Bill Pullman, is going to be Dennis Haysbert as David Palmer from 24. Just because the way he portrays himself is the way he portrays every role he does, even in Allstate now. Like, so like Kiefer Sutherland's like, Mr. President, they've got a gun on you. Oh, like it's just like his approach to like everything was great. Like, like, you know, like that was it. You know, wasn't upset, just very calm, always like, oh God, are you gonna handle that? Like, he's just like, I guess so, Mr. President. I got 1 hour. Like, you know, like. That was one of my favorites because like he was like the most nonchalant president. Like no president will ever be this way. I don't think, you know, I can't say for sure. I've never really met or talked to a president, but I don't see any president being as calm as he was in every situation that happened. Like Atlanta's under attack right now. They got bombs in Atlanta. Handle it. Like, you know, like like, you know, like that's it. That was literally it. So like he was my favorite because he was like the chillest president on the planet. Like someone's gonna handle it. I don't know if I have to, but someone's gonna.
That's crazy, man. You know, and it's funny because I figured you guys would all take all the good ones, like, you know, of course, Paul Whitman. And what mind you, President Whitmore for Independence Day, we all mentioned them, but none of us took them, which is crazy because I wanted to take them. I'm like, someone's gonna take them, you know. So definitely. Oh, crazy.
That's it. It's the best speech ever.
Come on. I'll fight somebody right now for that speech. You know, Morgan Freeman's just cool, calm voice to tell you the worst news. I love it. I'll take that voice. But then you have Get Off My Goddamn Plane from Harrison Ford on Air Force One.
Or was it just Get Off My Plane, then he kicks the guy in the face?
I think he said goddamn plane, right?
Huh. No, because I remember going.
Definitely not motherfucking playing stuff.
Yeah, no, he did not. That'd be Samuel L. Jackson playing the president.
Yeah.
My motherfucking plane. Anyway, no, I remember me and my dad went to see that movie, Air Force, in the theater, and he was a big like Harrison Ford fan, like because he played in. My dad liked to read a lot, so Harrison Ford ended up acting the lead in a lot of the movies that came from the books that my dad would read. So that's how he was a Harrison Ford fan, right?
Fugitive, all else, yeah.
So yeah, like my dad thought it was good, but then he was just totally disgusted by that scene when he kicked him off the plane and said, "Get off my plane," or "Get off my goddamn plane." He's just like, all right, that was a little too much. Like, you just kick him and like, whatever. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, man. So see, I pulled the okie doke on you guys. I figured you guys would take all the good ones and then you guys flipped it on me and chose all these other people. But right now, I would say one of the, not the best, but one of them that stands out to me when I thought about this question was George Washington from the play Hamilton. And not so much, well, besides the fact that he played George Washington and he came off crazy good and the way that he worked everything. Da 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 da. But the guy who played him, I have no idea. I forgot to look him up before we started the podcast. But the guy who played George Washington, also the charisma, the voice, the talent,
he stole the show.
He pretty much did.
He stole the show. Like other than
Aaron Burr, George Washington stole that show because
I didn't think the guy who played Aaron Burr stole the show so much as Washington stole the show when he was on the stage.
King.
No,
He's still showing those 5
definitely the king. The wife,
Esmeralda.
yes, and the Daveed Diggs, the two characters when him as Thomas Jefferson, when he like at the beginning of the second act there, when he came out as "What did I miss?" and then he's like doing the dance and everything. Like I would actually like to see Daveed Diggs do Hamilton, like he played the character Hamilton. I would love to see him play the character, because as much as I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, I don't think he was the best choice for playing Alexander Hamilton.
He wrote it, man. He's gonna be like,
it's
nah,
his show.
play Hamilton.
It's his show, but
he wrote it. He was like, damn, I wish I was Burr.
No, I don't think he was the best, the most talented, actor on the stage. I think Daveed. I just want to see Daveed Diggs do it, and I think he would bring something to it that be a little crazy.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
I think, Hav, I completely agree with you. There's in Washington's Goodbye song. Like that's the song that makes me fucking tear, man. But it was one line. I had to look it up because I wanted to make sure I got it right. And it was when he was talking to Hamilton, like trying to convince him, like, listen, he's like, I want to sit under my own vine, my own fig tree, a moment alone in the shade, a home in the nation we made, one last time. And I'm like, right here, right there. that song alone, I can listen to that song and like weep.
Yeah, man.
Because he makes it believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could look at his eyes and the way he acted. He was George Washington in that moment. You know, even when he was denying Hamilton the chance to be a part of his army as second in command, even though that play with Hamilton was amazing, then his rise to the presidency and then everything and him conceding the presidency as well, I thought was phenomenal the way that guy acted it, man. I will learn his name and I'll probably mention it up in the next podcast there.
Chris Jackson.
Chris Jackson. How can I know? I know that's an easy name to remember, man.
And then they did a good job picking him for Washington too, because Washington was a very tall, imposing presence, and he, when he busted onto the scene in the show, like he commanded the presence, he commanded the respect, he commanded attention right away. Because right out the bat, he was like, "We're outgunned." Like he didn't come in timid. Like he came in. This is General Washington. Like
once he showed up on the scene, did you hear the crowd cheer? And he was in, and I'm like, "Who's this guy?" George Washington.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. Insane, man. So I'm glad we all said different things than what most likely people thought we would pick for the presidents there. That's awesome.
I will say though, as a portrayal of a real president, Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln, he was incredible. Oh my god,
that guy was Lincoln.
He was Lincoln.
Yeah, he got an award for that, right? He got an Oscar for that.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think after that he was like, "I retired."
That's a mic drop. Like a performance like that, you just that's like Jordan. You hit that shot, walk off. Like there ain't nobody better than me.
The one of the things though for like Daniel Day-Lewis was like that movie came out at the same time as Lincoln versus like the vampires. Remember that movie? So like I got them.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I like that movie. I did like that movie.
Too. I liked it too. But I got really confused. Just like my Braveheart, Dragonheart thing, like same thing with that movie. Like Daniel Day-Lewis fought vampires.
You guys are crazy, man. I love it. Oh man. Well, listen, guys, we appreciate everyone who listens to this podcast and checks us out every week. If you are listening to us for the first time, this is what we do, man. We talk about all aspects of movies. We bring it to real life. We put movies into situations and put ourselves into those situations. And we talk about the movie news, like the big news. And again, once these blockbuster movies come back, that's what we do, man. We watch the blockbuster movies and dissect and just discuss and everything. So, we appreciate you guys keeping with us while we wait for these movies to really hit home again. So listen, coming from Long Island, I thank you guys as always. We got my boy Sanj.
Well, everyone, it's great to be with you, and it's always a pleasure to be with you. But before we go, I do want to say a few words of thanks and well wishes to the family of Alex Trebek, who passed away today. And he's somebody that has been part of the fabric of American culture. And for a lot of people, we grew up with Alex Trebek, and he was always somebody who was just always there kind of and teaching you along the way, because he's on Jeopardy
every day in the East Coast, man.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex Trebek, thank you for all the knowledge, and we will miss you.
Yeah, Sanj, man, thank you for that, man. Thank you for bringing that up, man. And going back to the close-offs there, we got my brother B. Adios, everyone.
All right.
Our boy Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, and myself, Hav. I thank you guys for always watching and listening. We'll definitely see you on the next episode. Until next time.